This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 705 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by Fleeceworks, saddle pads providing quality design, timeless style, and superior performance. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from the Dressage Radio Show, episode number 178. Reese and Philip are joined by Grand Prix competitor McIsaac to unravel the subject of horse show nerves and attitude. But first, let's hear from today's sponsor, Fleeceworks. Coach, it's Jen here, host of the Horse Tip Daily Show, and I've been joined by Judy McSwain from Fleeceworks. Judy, I've been hearing a lot of good reports about this new TheraWool product line that you introduced earlier this year. Tell us what's going on there.
Well, we launched the product in January. Well, actually, we really launched in April at Rolex and had great response from the customers. And it's been out in the stores for about 2 months, and we've just gotten a second shipment. And the response has been wonderful. People really like it, and it's made it so customers maybe who couldn't have purchased Fleeceworks before are able to purchase it because of the price point. And then there's some people that are using it day to day and saving their sheepskin for show. So it's basically opened a whole new customer base for us, and it's made the product affordable for people maybe who either didn't want to use sheepskin because it does require a little bit more maintenance, the sheepskin does, than the wool, or people that just couldn't make that stretch. So it's been great. It's really, really durable, as the tagline says. It is great for daily use, beautiful enough for show.
And I think that really explains it all in a nutshell, because it is a lovely pad to look at and feel,
Yes.
But yet it's still an affordable pad that you can literally go to the Olympics in this saddle pad.
Yes. We worked really hard to make sure that we developed the right density and the right length, and to make it in white. It's difficult to make wool in white. And so it took us about a year to get everything exactly right, and to make sure that when you washed it, that it didn't felt up or turn real hard or ball up. And it's a proprietary blend of product, the way we've done this to make it work.
So it's top secret, you could tell me, but then you'd have to kill me?
That's exactly.
Oh, I love it. International intrigue and quality saddle pads from Fleeceworks. So, folks, when you go to your local tack store, ask for Fleeceworks TheraWool pads by name. And if your local tack store doesn't have them, tell them that they need to speak with Judy at Fleeceworks. Just go to fleeceworks.com, and you'll find all of her contact information there. And thanks for stopping by again, Judy, and keeping us up to date on what's going on over there.
It's a pleasure to introduce Megan McIsaac, a trainer from Wisconsin. Her farm name is Lindenhof, and she is a Grand Prix rider and a wonderful person, and she's going to talk about show nerves.
Megan, thanks so much for coming on the Dressage Radio Show tonight.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for asking me.
So we're really excited. You are our trainer tip of the week. So what's your tip about?
I have several suggestions for showing and nerves. My first one is when you're going to the show, make up 3 goals. And that could consist of, number 1 is always have fun, but like ride your corners well, have a better angle, think about the activity that your horse needs. It really helps my students and myself to go into the show with a focus and not just, oh my gosh, I'm here, what do I do? They already know. And then a lot of times my students have very bad anxiety, and so just walk through your worst case scenario. So like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I could fall off. What do? You get back up, and you just go on. Another one is visualize your test and your warm-up, which Jane Savoy has great videos and books. I don't need to get into that. Don't change your warm-up. Communicate with your coach. A lot of times I go in and as the coach, and I have these great ideas for my students and different expectations, and then they completely change when we go to the show. And so I don't know what's going on in their minds, and it would be so helpful if they say, I'm nervous. And I think that's a huge one. It's just acknowledge that you have show nerves. Deal with them. Don't sweep them under the rug and say you're not nervous. I have several more. Do you want to talk about individual ones, or do you want me to just keep going?
Well, I like it. I mean, I think these are all wonderful ideas, Megan. You can, if you've got more, keep going.
I have more.
Keep it going, girl.
I think show
right.
nerves are a huge thing for people because, you know,
Huge.
we spend a lot of time training and, you know, preparing for a show. And when you get there, everybody wants to live up to expectations, right? So, I mean, I have show nerves. Reese has show nerves, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Philip.
So
No,
I
I actually, you're right. I had really bad show nerves, and I really had to figure out how to handle my show nerves. That was a huge part for me in my late teens when I felt like people were really watching and I had to live up to some great expectation. And I have had to do a lot of the things that you have said. And I also try to work with my students that way because everybody gets nervous. I don't care because we all are competitive on some level. If you entered the horse show, we are all going for a reason and to do well. Maybe not necessarily to win, but we all want to do well or do better than we did the weekend before. So it is a huge part. And I loved when you said, don't change your warm-up. I can't tell you how many times I'll come down or I'll tell my student I'll be there at, 8:00 and at 7:50, I happen to start down the hill and they're doing something that they've never done before. And that's a huge one. Don't change your warm up. Have a plan and stick to it. Don't, just because you're nervous, think you need to be riding Piaf if you're riding a 4th level test, just don't need to do that.
It keeps
keep going.
Calm. I mean, you start getting into that routine if you don't change your warm-up. Another big thing for me is I have a team of students that I go with, and there's always that team dynamic. And luckily, I have great people, and they just step up. They hold water, they hold coats. But another part of the team dynamic is each individual gets nervous. And so what I do is I take them out as a group, whether it's dinner or there's cute little shops. And I get them off the showground and I kind of distract them. Like we went to a movie one time and then we went back to the show and they showed and they were so relaxed. It was the best show. All of my students did well that show. And that I never thought of doing that. And it was actually one of their suggestions. Hey, can we go to a movie? And we had 4 hours to kill and we did. So another one is know your limits. Should you ride 1 or 2 tests per day? Maybe you should only go to a 1-day show versus a 3-day show. A lot of times people are exhausted by the 3rd day or they show better on the 3rd day. So just knowing your limits and don't overdo it. Also, I have over-prepare versus under-prepare. So over-prepare, don't ride your test, for 2 weeks leading up to the show. Versus under-prepare, at least ride your test once. And for me, I find going out like a trail ride the day before the show and just really light work the week of the show is really helpful for me. But I found with my students, I have to have them go through their test once a week. I don't know why, it just seems to work with my students. So I suggest that for adult amateurs. Also recognize when it isn't any fun anymore. Showing should be fun. I don't care what level you're at. That's why I'm on vacation. I got burnt out. That's why I go to Maryland to meet with both of you and the Hasslers, and there's such positive energy, and I get burnt out, and so do my students.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I know we deal with a little bit of a problem here rather than some people in the South, is that we have a very short show season. It's basically May to September, maybe, So there's all these shows that are kind of packed in, all in those months. And you almost find yourself showing or feeling like you're showing every single weekend. And then in the winter, there's nothing. And, so you can definitely, if you're feeling overwhelmed, scale it back a little bit and say, I'm just going to do 1 show a month or just recognize when too much, when it is too much, right? And
Right.
Not get overwhelmed. I think that's a good point.
Well, we were just talking about how you can get burnt out and going to extra shows. You have to remember showing is tiring. I don't care if it's in your same town or if it's far away. You know, the driving is stressful and figuring out who's going to take care of your animals and your family. So I think it is really important to think about when you go to showing. And that does lead to anxiety when you say, you know, one show a month, or, you know, I sat down with my trainer and we planned the year, and it is, we're going to have a busy May, but we're going to have an easier July, or however you work it. I think that's really important. That I think when you go to a lot of shows, you get tired. I don't know about you guys, but I do.
I get exhausted. And I found too, you know, maybe the training isn't fully confirmed, and that works for me. I might be able to cover it up, but, you know, you have the next show and the next show, and then maybe you only have 4 days in between to prepare, or you do have 2 weeks. It's just not enough time when you get into the show season and you're stuck, and you need to acknowledge that and maybe not go to that show, even if you need to qualify for regionals or you need the next score. I think a lot of times I found this year it was really tough. My students were going for medals and the USDF medals, and it was that last score, and they put all this stress and they ended up chasing scores. And how do you deal with it? It isn't fun anymore. It isn't fun for me as the coach, and I know it isn't fun for them, and you have to change your plan. Last one, be prepared, you know, with your equipment. Don't change your equipment. Same thing with your clothes. You know, put your show clothes on before the show. Make sure it all fits, and that you feel comfortable in it, because then you are going to be confident.
Well, there you go. If you enjoyed Reese and Phillip chatting with Megan, and who wouldn't, you can tune in every week at dressageradio.com. You can also find lots more tips about becoming a better rider at horsetipdaily.com. Just go to the topics drop-down menu on the left. Don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily, because they make these podcasts possible. And in this case, they also make amazing saddle pads. Today's tip has been brought to you by Fleeceworks. Saddle pads providing quality design, timeless style, and superior performance. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show. You can subscribe to all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. You can also listen to the shows right on Facebook. The player's right there every day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.